So how are you going to make that money? You're going to start a business? Yes. No? Maybe? You're going to invest that money in the stock market? Yes. No? Maybe? What are you going to do? Let's talk about it. Talk about some reasons to start a business versus investing. So one of the things is business. It's got less risk than investing your money. Because if you start, especially like a small business, which most people will, the worst thing that can happen is for it to fail. And if that does happen, then all the work you put into starting it up will be worth nothing. So it's not really a big loss involved if you start your own. In contrast, investing in something means someone else's company could go bankrupt or not do well enough for them to give back what they promised. There would also be, some risks associated with investments and inflation, which may cause stocks and bonds to go up or down too much. Just woo, some people can't handle the roller coaster. And then businesses, they require less startup costs, right? Because starting a business has fewer costs than investing money into something. When you start a company or start any other type of project on your own, there's no need for an office space that could cost thousands of dollars a month, right? In contrast, if you invest your money into stocks, it would require to pay upfront as well, sometimes more depending on the stock price, and there will also be costs associated with hiring employees and stuff like that. And you wouldn't have to do that if you start your own company. Now, investments, they can be less profitable, can be, maybe, right? Because starting a business on your own could be more profitable than investing in something else, right? Starting off on your own, you're able to start it up. You're able to keep all the profits for yourself, right? Meaning that if you're earning $1,000 a month, then that's how much money you know you're gonna be able to use in your company for for capital spending, right? Of course, there's other things associated with it, taxes and all that stuff, but you know all that money is yours. You don't have to pay someone else like an employee, like we were talking about earlier, right? Investing means giving some or even most of those earnings away, which may start happening when you start making a profit from their investments because they're they're handing over part of their company shares as well. And there's also someone who has control over what happens. Right? When you're investing, you really don't have that much control. There's also always a risk involved with investing, meaning things could go downhill real quick, you know? Think a company could go bankrupt and you lose everything with that investment, with that company, right? Or if someone's the face of a company, think Elon Musk and, you know, all of his companies. If he all of a sudden starts going crazy online, those companies are likely to just start plummeting. And there's also a time factor, right? The time needed to start a business versus when you're investing in something. It doesn't take that long to actually start a business. I mean, you could do it today if you really wanted to. Investing your money typically means you have to start searching, what stocks or, ETFs or mutual funds, what's going to be the best investment option, and then start researching, all the stuff you need to research about the different companies and everything. And, that way you can see what's best for you. I mean, this could take weeks, months. I've done it. It takes a long time. It really can when you start doing your due diligence. On the contrary, when you're starting, your own company, realistically, you just kind of need a decent business idea, which can come from anywhere. You know, talk with your friends about if they have startups, or maybe you read an article, or you were watching a podcast, or you just simply looking around and you ask yourself the question, what problem can I solve? What do people need? Stuff like that. Then, after some thought, you brainstorm ideas, get some promising ones, start implementing those ideas. Usually takes hours, maybe days instead of months because it's not a massive project. It's more like an experiment to see if it's going to work. So there's really no need for that much capital at all. Then you got to worry about managing it. Managing your business versus your investments, which managing your investments, active management of your investments, I'm just going to say it's not very good. Not good. Managing your own startup business and managing an investment, they're just so different. However, investing is much more complex and requires a lot more time than running a startup company. After you start investing in something, you'll have to spend days or even weeks just researching everything to make, the best return on your investment. For startups, again, it's not going to take very long before you start making any money if you're really going at it, because startups are typically not as complicated as other investments. You can go online right now, make a YouTube channel, boom. You could probably start making money a lot quicker than you think. You could go start selling t-shirts online. There's so many different things you could do. And maybe you have a hobby, you just go on Etsy and you start selling products. Boom. All right? To be a successful business owner and investor, you have to be emotionally neutral, to winning and losing. Winning and losing, they're just part of the game, right? And then one of our favorite things to talk about is wealth building, right? Wealth building from small business versus stocks. 40% of small businesses are profitable, 30% break even, and 30% are continually losing money. As an aspiring entrepreneur, you might be wondering whether it's better to start a new business or invest your money. A lot of different ways to make money with investments. The potential rewards can be great for those who choose wisely and stick to it. Right? However, if starting small business interests you, there's also some good reasons why you should really start thinking about it, because it might be the best time to start right now. Investing your money, it's a great way to grow wealth, but it's not always easy for those who are just starting with their finances. So when you start a small business and make wise decisions like investing in yourself or using, all these online platforms to, cut costs, track everything, stuff like that, then there's potential for higher returns on investment dollars than you would see from just investing lump sums of money into stocks. And of course, there's never a one size fits all answer for startup costs, but with some careful planning and the right skill set, you can start your own business at any age or level of financial stability. You may also decide that beginning as an entrepreneur, not for you. Maybe you might get a couple days into it and be like, nah, not for me, can't do this. Well, how about how much money it takes to start a business versus invest in stocks? Because to start a business, how much money is it really going to take? I mean, the amount of startup capital needed to start a new small business can be kind of everywhere. The cost is really going to depend on a lot of factors: what type of industry you're in, how much inventory or equipment you might need, where your business is located. However, it's also essential to keep in mind that startup capital is only one of the startup costs that you're going to have. Other expenses like inventory, equipment, advertising, make sure you're adding all this in, right? It could be as little as a couple $100, maybe $1,000, all the way up to maybe $25,000, $100,000. A third of small businesses get started with less than 5,000, and 58% got started with less than 25,000. That's not too bad. But what about stocks? Well, the startup cost for investing your money is much lower than starting a new company, but there's still some risk involved. When you invest your capital in the stocks, it doesn't matter what type of industry or location you're in, your startup costs are always the same. Luckily, you can do fractional buying now for stocks, so there really is no real minimal limit. Some whatever service you're using might have like a minimum initial deposit or like a minimum amount you need to have in your account, but after that, you can invest however much you want whenever you want. And the reason that investing your money in stocks can be a good choice is that, like I said, there's really no startup capital required. It could be to open this account, you need to have $100 in your account. Done. Pretty good. It's important to keep in mind that investing money is still an investment, and there are no guarantees. Even if you start a business, there's no guarantee that it will be successful or make enough money to, recoup your costs. So for someone who has little capital and limited savings, then investing your money may not seem like a feasible option at all, right? There's a quote by Warren Buffett. I don't want to jump over 7-foot bars. I look around for 1-foot bars that I can step over, right? So what skills are we going to need for investing or starting a business? Well, to start a business, other than the capital and rights, you're going to have a bunch of skills you need. But it doesn't require an advanced degree or anything like that. There's a bunch of different types of small businesses that can be started on a super small budget. You may even find your niche in one particular industry if you have a passion for your work. some startup businesses have become huge successes thanks to some clever marketing and, social media skills. But, you may also need other important skills like accounting or web design, right? Depending on what your business is. The type of industry that your startup is in will dictate the necessary skills needed for success. And it's always best to start small and start with a skill set you have. What skills do you need to invest in stocks? I mean, really, you just need to know how to research, right? There's not too many startup costs, and there's not, a lot of capital required, and the skills are kind of, especially now, there's a lot of people who will make a video about, oh, the top 5 things I'm investing in, and they'll tell you about it, and then you just follow up on their research, see if it sounds good, does it look good to you, does it fit what you need, your criteria, you know, everything. Again, it's not one size fits all. What's best for you is not best for me, right? And I just want you guys to do your research. That's all you need to do. Do your research. You'll be fine, right? And when you're doing your research and you see all these videos online, be careful, because I don't want you guys to say, "Oh, well, this guy is selling me a course to learn how to predict the stock market." That's no. You just need to look at the history of the stocks, and you need to just understand the basics, and you'll be fine. If it's too much for you, just invest in like an ETF or mutual fund. That's it. You'll be fine. It'll track the S&P 500, right? Just a nice index fund, and your money's going to go up over time. The stock market goes up over time. So if you invest in an index that's tracking the S&P 500, your money's going to go up over time, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, right? Subscribe to the channel. Come back for another one. But until I see you in that other video, y'all be safe.